So I've just caught up on the MotoGP race at COTA in America, and I just want to start off by saying that COTA is such a lit track. It's honestly, I think, one of the best additions to the F1 calendar, probably this century, and also made a great track for the bikes. But if you did watch it, you probably will know that it wasn't the most exciting race, but there's still quite a bit to talk about, so let's get into it. So it was Marc Marquez, unsurprisingly, who was fastest in qualifying. However, he got his time, well, he didn't get his time deducted, but he got a 3-place grid penalty for impeding Maverick Vinales on the Yamaha, and ironically, it was Vinales who inherited pole due to this, and he started on the front row alongside Andre Iannone on the Suzuki and Johann Zarco on the Tech 3 Yamaha, and off the start, it was Iannone who got the best launch. Vinales struggled a bit, dropped back to about 4th. Marquez jumped from 4th to 2nd heading into the first corner, and this race was pretty much the Marquez show in terms of a battle for the lead. This is probably the first MotoGP race I've ever watched where there hasn't been at least like a 3-bike scrap for the lead. Marquez got the lead off Iannone pretty quickly, and although Iannone did try and get back up the inside at the hairpin at turn 11, I think it is, heading onto the back straight, but couldn't get the move done, and Marquez pretty much rode off into the distance, no mistakes, faultless ride, and he couldn't have done a better job of redeeming himself considering what happened at the last round at Argentina, where he should have won that race as well, but he ended up just making a bit of a fool out of himself. So for him to come back from that, win this race, perfect for Marquez. Behind Marquez, a long way behind Marquez, Maverick Vinales was able to claw his way back to 2nd place, eventually getting past Andre Iannone, who Iannone had his best ride on a Suzuki by a long shot, his first podium for the team, and it creates a bit of a potential headache for Suzuki because they've been already talking like he's not going to be a part of the team next year. The rumour seems to be that Suzuki are going to try lure Jorge Lorenzo away from Ducati, which is a good call because Lorenzo continues to suck, basically, on the Ducati, but a great performance from Iannone, and especially in a race where his teammate Alex Rins, who showed him up pretty much the whole last year and a bit, crashed. A very good showing for Iannone, and behind him was Valentino Rossi, who will not be happy with 4th place. He didn't really look like challenging Iannone at any point, unlike his teammate Vinales. And rounding out the top 5 was Andre Dovizioso, who actually leads the championship now. And I think he will be extremely stoked with that. He's only 1 point ahead of Marquez, but Dovizioso is proving himself to be a bit of a master at picking up points even when he's not particularly competitive, but he can't keep doing that for the rest of the year, so he's going to want to win very shortly. Now, the main battle throughout the race was actually for 5th place between Johann Zarco and Andre Dovizioso. Cal Crutchlow, winner of the last round at Argentina, was involved in that battle for a significant amount of time, but he ultimately crashed out at turn 12 at the end of the back straight. He had a very, very scrappy race. At no point did he really look like he was in control, and as a result, he's dropped from the lead of the championship out of the top 5. But yes, it was Dovizioso and Zarco who had the most enthralling battle of the race for the majority, and Dani Pedrosa was actually able to keep up with these guys, and that is particularly remarkable considering that he had, I believe it was a fractured wrist from his crash in Argentina heading into this race. So for him to actually be competitive, not just circulate around in 12th place, but for him to fight for potential top 5, even though he ultimately fell off the back, was an extremely good effort. And also props to Aussie Jack Miller, who also finished in the top 10 despite having injury sustained from a mountain bike crash, I believe it was. So props to both of those guys. Really shows the strength and that these guys will go to ride their bikes. And rounding out the top 10, I believe it was Alicia Spargo on the Aprilia. So the big disappointment out of the race, once again, apart from Cal Crutchlow, who crashed out, was Jorge Lorenzo, who finished in 11th place. He finished behind both his teammate, obviously, and two riders, Tito Rabat and Jack Miller, who are on last year's Ducati bike. So, as I was saying before, Suzuki are trying to lure Lorenzo away from Ducati, and I don't see why he shouldn't leave. He's getting thrashed by a teammate who's being paid about a sixth of his salary, and he's not really looked like performing on that Ducati at any point, so he should definitely take that deal, I think. So that's been my wrap-up of the American MotoGP race. Unfortunately, not a whole lot to talk about with this one. Probably one of, when I say the most dull MotoGP races I've watched, it still doesn't mean it was bad, but it says a lot about the quality of the majority of the other races, which are generally on a much higher level than this one. But still, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will be covering the rest of the MotoGP season, and until the next race, I will catch you later.